It's not been exactly as how I expected it to be. I think I wasn't entirely sure what the whole community approach to bringing up children was going to be, and expected maybe more of an orphanage feel, but it's not like that at all. It's more like a village with about 8 houses, each with a different family in, and each family has adopted children and biological children, and then some students from Moscow.
I am 21 years old and we are here in Orion. I'm studying International Hospitality Management in Switzerland, so I am from Switzerland, and it's my first time that I came to Orion this winter.
I'm Ben, I'm 22 and I'm a University of Nottingham student. I took up studying Russian at the start of university and I'm now in my 3rd year.
My name is Melanie. I work as a translator. I translate from French into English, and I'm here in Kitesh to improve my Russian, my understanding of spoken Russian and written Russian, and to understand Russian culture, Russian life. It's my 2nd visit here. I came the first time a couple of years ago, and I learnt a lot in 3 months, so I really wanted to come back and keep learning.
My name is Cassie Blackador and I'm from London. I came to Orion as part of my gap year. I had always been interested in Russia at school, and I thought it was a great opportunity to come and live in Russia in a fairly safe environment, and also to feel as though I was being useful while I was in Russia and giving back to a community. Breakfast is at 9:30. The children will get up earlier than that because they do exercises and have lessons in the morning. But I get up at 9:30 and go across to the school to have breakfast. Then after breakfast, I usually do the dishes with the other volunteer, Ben. That takes about an hour, so from 10 until 11. After we do the dishes, we usually have a lesson with either the 4th class, which is 9 and 10-year-olds, or the nursery, which is 7 and 8-year-olds.
Give me another hour. Утипа. О, сейчас. Ты знаешь бегемота?
Знаю.
Бегемот.
They've all got a fairly basic understanding of English, so we have quite a lot of fun playing games with them, singing songs, which they're very keen on, and just slowly teaching them basic English vocabulary.
Yeah.
I've always known that I loved working with children. It's something I do at every opportunity I get at home. So being here and having 25 younger siblings essentially has been really enjoyable. You don't need to know their language to engage with the children. All you have to do is be able to play with them. That could be playing with toy swords, making things in the stoliaka, or playing board games in the evening. It really doesn't matter. They'll love you anyway.
Давай вместе. Давай вместе. Да. Давай. You can't really say a typical day in Orion. There is no such thing because every day is spontaneous and it's changing, and there's no day alike the other. Надо один раз сильно. Да. Отлично. Да. Да, смотри, как отлично.
After lunch at 3, there's either sport or a walk pretty much every day. So if the volunteers aren't going on that, we usually clean the school or perhaps work at home. Once we've done that, I usually iron at home, which has kind of become my responsibility in Orion. So I do quite a fair amount of ironing. And then, I don't know, before 5 there may be a rehearsal for some sort of show they're putting on. They're really keen on doing plays and things with the younger children, so usually the volunteers will help with that.
At the moment we're planning our dance festival. It's the second big dance festival we are organizing in Orion. The first one we did when I was here the first time, and now it's kind of a revival of the first dance festival. We're having a classical Russian dance, Irish dance, tap dance, hip hop, really a lot of different things. When you're coming to Orion, you need to be able to adapt to a completely new environment. You need to be prepared that the beginning is not going to be easy, that you need to be open and ready to do just whatever is offered to you. Don't think, oh, but why they do it like this? Why don't they do it like this? Just be open, go for whatever is suggested to you, even if it's something that you wouldn't do at home.
It's Orthodox Church tradition that on the 19th of January you dunk yourself 3 times under the water. Well, being the 19th of January, all the water in Russia is frozen. You cut a hole in the ice, you dunk yourselves under 3 times, and then you cross yourself as you get out. In the Orthodox Church, it's supposed to wash away all your sins and all your any illness or bad feeling you may have. So we went down to the pond to cut the ice with a chainsaw probably about this long, thinking, yep, this will be fine. We start cutting and we cut one big square and we still didn't get any water. We then cut them into 4 and still cutting. We're still jumping on the ice at this point and it won't break. It is the middle of January. The ice is about 1 meter thick. Eventually, after about 40 minutes, we get the ice cut. And then we've got to try and get the ice blocks out of the water. So all of a sudden, we've now got our gloves off, hands in this half-frozen pond, digging out the ice blocks in preparation.
In the beginning, you're all right because everything is new. You're looking at things, and then it starts to get hard until you get really part of the community.
You get off the plane, I've never been to Russia before, and I'm thinking slightly, what am I doing? And how is this going to be? And I was very nervous. But you soon settle in and you soon realize that actually the people here are so lovely, so welcoming that you won't have a problem.
Openness is the very important thing in our community, as it's normal to speak about some difficulties you have to face with, and the different culture, the different country, the different people. And it's really a pity when volunteers leave Orion with negative emotions just because they don't like something, and maybe we can easily change this. And you know, it's no chance to change something when you leave Orion, but you still can change something if you're still in Orion. I think it's great for volunteers to be brave enough or to be confident enough just to speak about their emotions and about their some inner thoughts, and we really will support them, and are really ready to support and to provide some help or something like this.
I was 19 years old when I came for the first time, which is kind of the point where you're starting to get an adult, and you suddenly actually people look at you as an adult, but you were used to being the child in the family. I think this is a very important point that you have to think about. What is your role when you're actually coming here?
Be self-confident enough to invite yourself to tea at people's houses, which is quite an un-British thing to do, and usually we're quite reserved about that, but you've just got to embrace it here, because otherwise, if you're alone in your house, that's the only time that you do start to miss home.
Even if you're reading or studying or whatever, don't do it in your room. Try to spend as little time as possible on your own or in your room. Go outside or just go for a walk around the circle in Orion. Orion is built like a circle. The school is in the middle and all the houses are placed around. So walk around. Maybe you see somewhere where you could go in and say hi. Try to go to all the houses and invite yourself for tea. Ask them to tell you about them, about their family. Tell them about yourself if they're interested.
My advice to anybody who'd like to come to Orion would be throw yourself into everything. Keep yourself busy and keep going. Yes, you will miss home at some point, but the more you're doing, the more you're involved with the children, with the adults, with activities, the less you'll think about home and the more you'll become part of a community here, which is really something that feels very special by the end.
Будем готовить винегрет.
Can you say it?
Как по-английски овощи? Vegetables. Vegetables. Ты меня будешь учить, а я тебя. Я английскому у тебя буду учиться, а я русский тебе буду говорить. Ты будешь у меня teacher of English.
Yeah. Yeah.
А я буду for Russia.
Is that what I'll teach you Russian and you teach me English? Yes? Yeah. Done.
I think it does make it a lot easier the more Russian you know. Most people here can speak a bit of English, but even if you're having a conversation with people who live here in English, they're going to say things in asides in Russian and jokes in Russian, so you miss out on that. It also makes it easier to talk to the children at first.
My Russian has definitely improved. You get out of it what you put in. You can't automatically become fluent and improve as much as you maybe think just by being here. You take a lot from those times when you have free time. You need to be learning language, you need to be learning vocabulary as well. And then you'll improve.
Although I sometimes feel frustrated because I can't communicate that well in Russian. I can't express myself that well, but I feel that it's like I'm having to do in daily life, I think, what we do as translators, which is really hear the music of the text and the language, and so really it's a privilege just to listen.
I think the value really is that they come to understand the culture here in a way which you can't see from Britain, because you're inside that culture. The volunteers are inside that culture, and they see everything through the lens of that culture. In the West, we prize democracy, our own version of democracy, which we think is the only version, as if it's the most important thing of all. But in this country, which has experienced enormous turmoil, people value security more than they value democracy. In Britain, we've had no foreign troops on our soil for 1,000 years. In this country, it's been within living memory.
We went on a walk, and the children had metal detectors and found some helmets, some shells, some bullets, and some wire, all within perhaps a half an hour away or an hour. There are quite a lot of vestiges and remains here from the Second World War.
And we have our sea around us. Here they have a very, very vulnerable land boundary. So simply to understand those things helps anyone from the West to understand that Russians simply think differently. They see the world differently from the way that we see it. And the other value, of course, is that they bring their values here, and they help the children and the adults here to see the way things are seen from the West, to look at the orderly way that we do things. They see it's orderly, and to understand that things can be done in a different fashion. And this exchange of culture, I think, is immensely valuable, immensely valuable.
Я всегда понимал, что Китеж должен быть неким, помимо всего прочего, международным центром. Дело в том, что русские дети-сироты, они очень мало чего видели в мире. Они воспринимают мир из своего очень узкого и такого, я бы сказал, примитивного опыта. Поэтому любой иностранный гражданин, который приезжает к ним и рассказывает про другой образ жизни, ну, надо сказать, что они не очень-то верят этим рассказам, но они просто видят другого человека, видят, что он говорит на другом языке, что у него другой образ мыслей, и они все равно впитывают. Вот. Вообще сироты очень недоверчивые. И они в первые несколько лет даже своей жизни в Китеже пытаются все равно сохранять свои традиции, свой взгляд на мир, питаются макаронами и вообще боятся куда-либо выезжать. Но потом проходит некоторое время, и у них пробуждается интерес к внешнему миру, и они начинают примерять на себя разные роли. Так вот, встреча с иностранными волонтерами, иногда это показ слайдов, иногда это уроки английского, иногда это просто задушевные какие-то беседы и выстраивание отношений, они очень помогают детям расширить свой кругозор и получить представление о том, что их судьба – это просто какой-то частный случай, и можно эту судьбу менять, можно себя применять в разных направлениях, и можно поехать в другие страны, можно увидеть, как по-другому живут люди, и тогда вот все, что с тобой происходит, это как бы не такая вот, это не рок, который, это не судьба, которая вот так сложилась и на этом закончилась, а мир многообразен, жизнь многообразна, и поэтому ты можешь применять на себя разные роли.
There is a Russian saying that when you come into a new monastery, don't bring your own old rules. Sometimes the volunteers don't understand that when I explain it to them, and they still think that the way things are done in Britain is the way it should be done here, and it doesn't work.
It is a big challenge for every foreign volunteer who is coming to Russia, because our children, they really penetrate deeply into the soul, and they want the same attitude towards themselves. It's a challenge, but at the same time it gives you the chance to develop yourself. Sorry for my poor English. Вот. Да, вот русская душа, она загадочна даже для русских, поэтому и волонтеры часто сталкиваются с тем, что не так легко вот выстроить отношения безопасной привязанности с детьми, а иногда и со взрослыми. И в этом плане, конечно, человек, который едет в Китеж, он должен быть готов к тому, что все будет не так, как ему кажется из-за рубежа. Поэтому мы очень ждем людей, которые действительно способны меняться и которые способны воспринимать другую культуру не с позиции критики, да, а с позиции принятия. Это, в общем, терапевтическое отношение, потому что мы должны принимать детей со всеми их недостатками, мы должны принимать друг друга, и мы должны принимать взрослых.
Можно сказать, ну, тот волонтер успешный сам для себя, который смог подружиться с детьми, найти общий язык со взрослыми Ориона, найти себя в Орионе. Потому что волонтеры бывают абсолютно разные. Кто-то находит себя на ферме, кто-то в педагогике, кто-то в мастерских. И это настолько по-разному, и каждый раз это как новая вселенная открывается. Новый человек приезжает, и то, что он сам отдает, ему также возвращается обратно из Ориона. И мне кажется, главное – это инициатива. Да, я не буду говорить, что конкретно нужно делать человеку, потому что каждый волонтер, он разный, у каждого свой жизненный опыт. Но мне кажется, главное, что это инициатива и желание. И это критерий успешной жизни, мне кажется, в Орионе, успешного опыта.
It's interesting to come in the beginning of September when school restarts, everything gets back to its rhythm, and quite often September is nice in weather, and then you see the whole change, how it goes into winter, but you don't stay here for too long. Another possibility would be to come in October, November, so you start the Russian winter and you end with the New Year time, which is a really lovely time. For me, this was a really nice experience to spend New Year in Russia and also to stay for the 2-3 weeks after, which are still really happy weeks and where the country is slowing down a bit and everybody enjoys the winter vacation.